back. We are getting the artist approach this afternoon from Emily Burkhead. You can find her work in the Lansing Art Gallery all month long, but today you can find it right here on Studio 10. Thank you so much for joining us, Emily.
Thank you for having me. It's great.
Awesome. Well, it's so great to have you here. But you know, before we get into the artist approach, I want to talk to you first about being an intermedia artist. For those who don't know what that means, explain that to us.
Yeah, so in simplest of terms, intermedia is between mediums, but it is also sometimes used to describe the sort of interdisciplinary work of electronic art. So you might hear about electronic art and intermedia. So yeah.
I love that, and we've been having more of that on Studio 10, not people who are just, you know, a paintbrush and a portrait, but there's so many different ways that we can interpret and create art. Yeah. So another thing that we have to say is congratulations, because you just graduated MSU with your MFA in Studio Art, and you just wrapped up your award-winning thesis exhibition. We're actually taking a look at it right here. So talk to us about what you were able to craft.
Yeah, so I'm actually originally a filmmaker, and sort of experimental film and video artist, but when I got to Michigan State, I branched into mixed media, and the summer before I put my thesis up, I began working on it with these really bright colors that really drew me in and really drew me to my childhood, and made me think about how do I carry these sort of like loud colors and textures into my adulthood, and what do they mean? How do they impact me today?
I love that. So when you do that, do you kind of start with a draft in mind? Do you kind of draw it out first, or do you kind of, is there like a process of trial and error?
Yeah, so that's what I really love about this work right now is when I was first at Michigan State, I was trying to do very technically perfect work, and which was something I wasn't used to as a filmmaker. I wasn't used to mixed media and sculpture, but with this work I kind of just let it free flow, and I'm able to embrace the sort of like raw messiness that it gives me, which I really, really love.
I love that, and that's incredibly unique and creative in your way. Now, also, your work is in the Lansing Art Gallery in the LGBTQ plus Artists in Michigan exhibition. So talk to us about what we'll see when we walk in there.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's an amazing show with a lot of amazing artists, and everyone should go see it. A lot of my peers are in it from Michigan State, and there I have a couple of pieces similar to some of this material. It's vinyl with flexible TPU filament. If you know 3D printing, this is done with a 3D printing pen.
Wow.
So it's a similar aesthetic to the pieces in Lansing Art Gallery, but they're floating and kind of really ghostly but pink and fun at the same time.
Absolutely, that is. How long did it take for you to create this?
So these are pieces, these are sort of quote unquote reject pieces, not that they're bad, but just didn't quite make it into the final installation of my thesis. So that whole thesis took about a year to make. These, I would say, take 1 to 2 hours each, depending on what I want to do with them.
That is awesome, and that's so wonderful. And overall, you know, what's the message that you want people to really feel and understand when they get a chance to walk through and see a lot of your work?
Yeah, I mean, I of course want to connect with other people similar to me, other people who grew up LGBTQ, maybe in the closet, maybe feeling a little misunderstood, and this is a way for them to sort of feel seen and heard as queer people, as trans people, and sort of a way to reclaim that sort of childhood that maybe we didn't quite have for one reason or another. So. Yeah.
And I think that's so important, and I think there's so many people who resonate with that when they get a chance to see your work. So thank you so much for being that representation for them. And if people are traveling this summer, just so you know, Emily's work is across the Midwest as well. Talk to us about the installation that you have at the Indianapolis Art Center.
Yeah, so the Indianapolis Art Center, it is a part of Art from the Heartland 2024, another amazing show. That's a group show from artists all over the Midwest, and I have there kind of like a slightly smaller version of my thesis, and we installed it just a week ago, and it just looks amazing in that gallery. So I'm really excited for people to see that one as well.
That is awesome. And remember, you can see Emily's work at the Lansing Art Gallery. We have your website and her Instagram as well, where you can find more of her work. And we'll be right back after a break.